Now you have cancer here. Now it has developed to this stage. What we don't understand. I'm going to think positive. I'm going to focus, on eating healthy. I'm going to focus on living. I'm going to focus on actually claiming that every single cell of my body is going to heal, because our body was designed to heal itself. And I truly, truly, truly believe that.
You've got the worst diagnosis and you're still here because you said, I know I'm supposed to be here and I'm going to be here and I'm going to fight this and I'm not going to let the words poison my heart, because words are worse than being hit by a truck.
Tonight, we are going into the world of breast cancer and awareness and breast health. And I know this is a very hot topic for a lot of us. We've all probably seen it's been touched by many people. We have friends, we have family, we have, in many cases, we have siblings and mothers and family members are going to have actually suffered through this. And unfortunately, it's in US alone, there's like 1 out of 8 women have been touched by breast cancer, unfortunately. And if we can find a solution to help somebody either prevent it or overcome it or even manage it, this is why we're having these real talks today. So I want to say thank you for Dr. Roni for coming in and sharing your expertise every week. Gabriela, I know you're a busy lady, going to be traveling, so thank you for sharing your time when you can every Monday and being the voice of a mother and the leader and somebody that people seem to resonate to you in terms of what gifts you can give back to women. And we also have a special guest tonight, which is Carolyn, who we'll get to know in a few minutes. And Carolyn will be sharing her story and how she's overcome and battled not only breast cancer, but now it's become such a cause when in terms of health and wellness that this is what she's doing full time. And I think that's a powerful story in itself. And I also have to say thank you to Claudia for stepping in. She looks absolutely beautiful with her breast cancer ribbon behind her. Thank you for stepping in and helping me be a facilitator tonight. So I appreciate that. We are going to be doing these calls every week. We have a different subject every week. So next week, actually, we have another young lady coming in that's going to be talking about her story, overcoming and managing lupus. So that is kind of an unusual disease that we hear about people talking about. So that'll be an interesting conversation. And then we have another couple of weeks, we have an amazing opportunity to learn about the power of frequency. So it's going to be very varied, and we're going to be having more people coming in talking about specific subjects. But tonight, there's a reason why we're here tonight, and that is because it is October. It is Breast Cancer Month. This is not a month to celebrate, it's a month of awareness. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over the forum and the mic to Carolyn. And Carolyn, if you could please introduce yourself. I say thank you again for, giving your time to us tonight. And I'm really looking forward to hearing your story.
A little bit of my story. My name is Carolyn Rodriguez. I actually reside in the state of Georgia. I've been here for 25 years. And yes, I am a retired RN, and I also do nutrition. I love it. I am so passionate about helping others and guiding others, to eat healthy, to feel healthy, and to be happy, because I myself, I'm a cancer survivor. I am actually 47 years old, and I am so happy that I can say that, that I can share what helped me continue to stay healthy throughout all the rest of my life. I was diagnosed with breast cancer when I was barely 21 years old, and I was 6 months pregnant with my first child. And that was very, very hard. You don't want to hear those kind of news when you're waiting for your first baby to be born. I want to I want to tell everybody how important it is for you to follow up with your doctors, how important it is to do self-checkup. You know, a lot of us, we believe it's not going to touch us. That's the problem that we have. Oh no, that's not going to happen to me. Oh no, I eat very healthy. I'm vegan. No, that has nothing to do with that. Believe it or not, you know, when I was diagnosed with cancer, I was so young, 21 years old. I received a call because the doctor who actually performed the test on me, I was stationed at that time in Birmingham, Alabama. And unfortunately, they moved from one office to another. And guess what happened? My test results just got filed up, and nobody ever did a follow-up with me until they moved, and that envelope fell from that file, and they opened it and they realized that I was actually, you know, positive, that it was not in a good stage. And when they reached me, I was already 6 months pregnant, showing severe signs. And I kept telling my physician, something is wrong. This is not normal. So don't ignore your signs. Your body has a way of letting you know when something is wrong. Believe me when I tell you, go get yourself checked. You can start doing it yourself, but it's always good to have a professional, to actually just to take, look a little deeper. You're not going to lose anything. It's actually probably going to save your life. And yes, I tell this to everybody that I meet. I believe that we are all born with a purpose. It was really hard for me to give birth to my son on the 2nd of May, 1997. And on the 3rd of May, I was already actually having surgery, major surgery. I didn't get to enjoy my son. I didn't get to breastfeed him. I didn't get to hug him. It was from a C-section going to another room to have major surgery because I was in such bad shape, because I ignored a lot of these signs. I wasn't eating healthy. I was eating so much sugar, and it didn't help that I had gestational diabetes to make it a little worse, and I kept trusting, some people was like, oh, this is normal, you're going to be okay. And I figured nobody ever called me to give me my test results. So everything went well. In other words, ladies, take it upon yourself to actually call when you get those, when you go get a mammogram, push forward, call. Hey, I want to know how did my test results go? What's going on? It's always good to ask that question. Yes, we get nervous, but believe it or not, it will probably save your life. I'm so grateful for that nurse that actually had the courage to call me and apologize to me in Birmingham, Alabama, telling me, we're so sorry that we don't know how this fell to the crack. We don't know how this happened, but now we got to deal with this. And yes, I had to deal with that at 21 years old, pregnant for the first time, giving birth to my child, and for the first 6 months of his life, mommy wasn't there. Mommy was one surgery after another, chemo, radiation. And I was, so passionate, so passionate to study medicine. I wanted to help others. I kept digging and looking for answers. How could this be prevented? Let me tell you something. I got my period when I was 9 years old. I started showing early signs of development when I was 9 years old. That is not normal. That is no good, okay? And because I come from a Spanish background, I am from Puerto Rico originally. Where I come from, it was from the south part of Puerto Rico, where I was raised. Nobody talked about stuff like that. It was like, shh, stay quiet. And my mom could not understand why I was developed so early, being 9 years old, getting my period, very heavy for 15 days, 30 days. I would have abnormal periods. My breasts were actually so enlarged. And that wasn't normal for a 9-year-old. But yet I couldn't say anything. I couldn't talk to anybody. And my mom kept telling me, you're going to go have a physical And the doctor kept telling my mother that I was normal, that was okay. No, that is not okay. Please, that is not okay. You know, the fact that I was having severe hormonal disorders so young, I think that if she would have pressed a little more into, you know, bringing it up in the doctor's appointment, hey, this is happening, this is not normal. And then we discovered that there was a lot of hormones that were fed to the chickens where we were raised. And guess what happened? My body absorbed that. And I started showing secondary side effects to all those extra hormones that were given to those chickens to make them bigger, to make them more healthy looking, you know, more juicier. And in the meantime, I was getting sicker. I was having periods for months. I started having lumps in my breast by the time I was 11 years old. Severe lumps, okay? That is not normal. We cannot accept this as normal. I want you to know that I tell everybody that has a daughter or a sister or a mom or a grandma, you know, the rates are so high of cancer because we keep thinking that is never going to happen to us. Okay, I had to endure so many surgeries. Not only did I develop breast cancer at stage 3 at that young age, you know, had no control of my diet. I was so ignorant about so many things, you know, that I took it upon myself to go to school, to learn about nutrition, to learn about natural ways to help our bodies balance our hormones, and to actually, you know, pinpoint the triggers or the signs at an early stage so you can actually prevent what I went through. You know, I want you to know my son was born. I have a 26-year-old, but my son has autism. Okay, he's my baby. And God bless me after 11 surgeries, because I had to endure 11 surgeries, because not only did it was breast cancer, it started traveling all over my other organs. You know, unfortunately, they were so focused on one area that they could not, unfortunately, see that I started having signs, you know, severe signs on my other organs, you know, and that is something that we have to take it upon ourselves when our body starts giving us signs that something is wrong. Don't ignore it, please. You know, I tell everybody, watch what you eat. Nutrition is really important when it comes to our development, especially in females and women. You know, what all this processed food that is out there, you know, all the studies that have been done, the fact that before, cancer was so rare. Cancer was a very rare thing. But after the 1920s, when they started developing more processed sugar, more processed food, more processed meat, then they started seeing a little more of those signs of early stages of cancer. And it was always, we were always taught that cancer happened after 55, after 60. Not anymore. Now you see young girls, early as 6 years old, 3 years old, with cancer. Okay. And let me tell you something. Breast cancer doesn't only occur in females. It has happened to males. If you didn't know, men can also develop breast cancer. And that's something that is being happening more often than what is supposed to. You know, it's like, what? I never heard of that. You know, but believe it or not, it's happening. You know, I keep educating myself. I keep learning more about what can we do, what proteins can be, you know, can actually be studied in those biopsies to actually give an early detection of, you know, of development of cancer. Just like in colon cancer, there's certain tests that they have developed. Science has actually advanced so much that they can now detect the particular protein of, you know, in a person before they have any signs or anything. So I'm hoping and praying that that's also something that we can help develop. You know, knowledge is powerful. We have to empower each other with this. If you have a friend, if you have a sister, a daughter, a mom, a grandma, talk about stuff like that. It should not be taboo. It should not be, you know, a forbidden subject anymore. I tell my daughter, I have a daughter, she is 12 years old. God actually gave me that blessing after everything I went through. And let me tell you something, talking about miracles. I only had one ovary and half a uterus, okay? And I was able to give birth to a healthy baby girl. So let's not doubt that God is in this, it's all over this. The fact that my daughter was born, the fact that I wanted my daughter to be tested for every single thing you can imagine. You know, I took her to a gene specialist. I was told that because of everything I went through and all the way the cancer cell was developing in my body, you know, that there's a big chance my daughter was gonna be born with this. No, it didn't happen. Okay. I did not claim that for her at all. I prayed every single day. I took very good care of myself. I was really, you know, really aware of everything I ate, that I was not eating any processed food, that I was no longer eating processed sugars, you know. I was taking supplements that was helping tremendously my immune system. And yes, I gave birth to that amazing, beautiful 6-pound little girl with no hair. She had no hair, you know, and the fact that she came negative to everything. And I took my daughter to every single physician that told me that that was not going to be possible. I took her to all of my oncologists, all of my therapists, all of them that kept telling me that I was insane and crazy, you know, to think that I could actually have another child with just half a uterus and one ovary. Isn't that amazing? You know, it's a blessing. I always thought that this has so much power. And every day that I went through chemo, radiation, experimental drugs, because listen to this, I submitted myself to so many experimental treatments to try to find a cure, something that could help me with my cancer, because they couldn't figure out why I was doing so good. And 2 months later, I was so sick. And they did another PET scan, they did another MRI, and they're like, we don't understand what's going on. Why is now you have cancer here. Now it has developed to this stage. What we don't understand. And I was like, I don't claim it. I'm going to think positive. I'm going to focus, you know, on eating healthy. I'm going to focus on living. I'm going to focus on actually claiming that every single cell of my body is going to heal, because our body was designed to heal itself. And I truly, truly, truly believe that. I truly believe that, yes, it can heal itself. You know, it's amazing what our bodies can do. You know, the best sample I can tell you, I think I talked to Gabriela, I think when we first met, you know, that I had a really good friend. She's actually from Canada. She is a physical therapist, and she went to have a mammogram and all this stuff done. And she's a healthy girl. She ate healthy. She was a vegan, and she was told that she had cancer. And she called me and she's like, I can't believe that this is not true. I'm going to have to go to chemo through radiation and all this other stuff. And I'm like, did you get a second opinion? It's not making any sense to me, because you don't have any hormone problems. You know, your mom, your aunt, your grandma, I don't understand. And she's like, she started feeling symptoms within 2 weeks. By 30 days, she lost all her hair. Okay, she lost like 15 pounds. They put on her port. You know, they actually have to do a surgery to install her port. That day, she was going to go have her first, that was within 2.5 months, her first chemo. She received a call to stop the chemo. And the nurse was like, we can't give you chemo. And the nurse put the lady on the phone to her and said, we're so sorry. We don't know how to tell you this, but you are not the correct patient with cancer. It was actually a mistake. There was a mistake on the readings, on the information that they were actually putting information from another patient on her file. And she thought that she had cancer. You know what I'm trying to get to this? The power that we have, okay? The fact that she thought she had cancer, she started feeling all the symptoms. She lost her hair. She lost about 15 pounds. She started feeling sick to her stomach, severe diarrhea, tenderness everywhere. And I was like, this is not making any sense. And she came to me, she said, give me everything you were taking. I want to take everything you were doing, the diets, everything. And she went through a lot of emotional stress. She had to go to 7 different doctors to prove to her that she didn't have cancer, that it was actually an error from the technician. When they were putting the information in, she was doing way too many things at the same time. Isn't that ironic? How she had no cancer, but she felt everything. She started telling herself that she had it. Why am I sharing this with you? Because when I was told that I had cancer, the first thing my mom told me, don't accept that. You cannot accept that. You have to tell your body to heal. You have to tell your body to heal. You have to think positive. You have to take it one day at a time, and you got to think positive, and you got to make every single minute last, every single minute count. And I've been doing it since I was 21 years old, after 11 surgeries. And when I say this to you, even though I was told I was not going to make it to not even my 40th birthday, I had a portion of my stomach removed, a portion of my esophagus, 55% of my pancreas, and I don't have my splint, okay? And here I am, Caroline Rodriguez. I am so proud, so happy that I can share with you my story, that I can share with you that yes, you can overcome this. Yes, you can actually help somebody overcome all this negativity, because sometimes people can actually kill you quicker than cancer with their negative comments, with their negative things, you know. And I tell this to everybody when I find out somebody tested positive for cancer. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Your body was designed to guard you, to protect you, and to fight for you. So let's put those cells to work for you. You know, let's do this. And this is what I tell my daughter. My daughter is 12 years old. And I tell this to her every day. You are, to me, the proof that you can actually heal yourself, that God gives you that power, gives you that freedom, you know. And yes, don't think that you cannot eat everything. Everybody's like, well, now these days you can't eat nothing. Everything is processed. That's not true. That is not true. Yes, you can eat healthy. Yes, you can go and take your test. Don't wait until you start having symptoms. Go make yourself, you know, tell your doctor, I haven't had a mammogram. I haven't had this done. You know, go with your friend. If your friend is scared, go with her. Tell her you're going to be fine. You know what? We can empower each other. We're here to empower each other. We have so much power that we don't give ourselves credit for it. You know, being a friend, being a mentor to somebody that is going through this, you can help that person heal quicker and faster. You know, I can tell you this because I lived through this. You know, every time I find out about somebody, I bombard them with love, with good, you know, I'm always sending them texts, good comments. How was your day? Make this day count. You know, put makeup on, you know, put your favorite perfume, but live every second and do not let this control your life. You know, don't let it predict how much you're going to live, because if you start thinking negative, you're pretty much giving up. when you start allowing that in. And I know that Dr. Roni will probably agree with me on this, you know, surround yourself with people that celebrate you, that loves you, you know, that actually wants you to grow. And this is what I do every day. I am very passionate about this. I work with so many physicians, not because of my background, you know, my medical background, but because of my experience, because what I had to go through every single one of this, you know, all of these tests, all of these challenges, so I can understand when somebody come to me and say, oh, I have stage 3 cancer. And I'm like, you're victorious. You know, you already won the battle. Don't give up. You know, tell your body that he has a purpose. He has a mission. And you cannot take that away from your body, you know. And yes, we are what we think and what we eat. Some people say that, you know. I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest. You know, I refuse to give up. I refuse to feel pity. I refuse I didn't want it to pity myself. I even blocked some of my family members that kept telling my mama, did you pick the dress? Did you pick, you know, the coffin for Caroline? And I'm like, my God, I'm not, why are they saying that to me, you know, about me? I'm still here. I'm still kicking. I'm not going to give up until this day that I go get my test done, my mammograms. I do. When they start seeing my record, they're like, oh my God, we got to run this. We're going to run that. And I'm like, no, we're going to do one test. And I know that I'm okay. Are you doing follow-ups? Are you doing this? Are you taking that? I'm not going to pump my body with chemicals. I refuse that. And I'm still here. And, you know, the fact that I had an amazing husband that supported me, that helped me, the fact that my whole entire family refused to give up, you know, refused to feel pity for me, refused to cry around me, refused to, you know, this is how we Spanish people are. We're like, ay, bendito, you know, she's so sick. And I'm like, I worked. Let me tell you something. I went through college. I graduated. I worked at the hospital, 12-hour shift, 14-hour shift, 16-hour shift. I never allow myself to give up on me. Okay. That's the way you need to think every day. You know, you are worth it. You are enough. You have the victory. And this is something with the respect of everybody. I'm not a preacher. I'm not a pastor, but I truly believe this. I'm a Christian woman. I serve to God. That when you pray, you got to believe you really have it. That you have that answer. That you have the result. That you live in the result. You have to live it every day. And this is what I tell all my ladies. You know, the best, we already have the cure. We already have it. It's already right here, you know, and the fact that we are empowering tonight so many women, and that we have Dr. Roni with us. We have we have Gillian here. We have Claudia. We have, you know, Gabriela. You know, I love the fact that even though it was a little accident, that we have a lot of people logging in with Gillian's name there. I don't think that was an accident. I believe that is a way of, you know, God telling us, you know, that there is a little bit of each one of us, you know, we can give to others, you know, so we can clone that. We need to start cloning all that stuff, Gillian. I think that's amazing. I enjoy telling people, you know, when I wake up every morning, I tell myself this: you are so beautiful. You are so wonderful. You got to love yourself before you give to others. You got to love yourself. You got to accept the fact that you have so much power. It should scare you, like Wonder Woman, you know. You should be like, oh, wait a minute. I am untouchable, because yes, you are. You are untouchable. And most people, most of our females, if you are a friend, please empower your friends with good words. Take them out. The laughter, you know, help them out. If you read something about something that has been developed, especially on Mother Nature. We have a really good, amazing gift from Mother Nature to help us. It's been given, it's written in the Bible, you know, that God gave us all these amazing things for us to enjoy. And, you know, unfortunately, we're putting our trust in certain things that we shouldn't. And that is just my opinion. But the fact that I'm here today, that I can say that December of this year, I'm going to be 48 years old and I'm here to take care of my son. I took an oath. I am so passionate about this. I decided to go full time on this. I left everything, because I want to give to others. And yes, there is joy in giving. There is joy in giving and holding somebody's hand and say, you know what, I'll walk with you. Everything is going to be okay, because you know everything is going to be okay. And when I tell you that you can do it, yes, you can.
I've been doing this work for so many years, and everything you said, I know why you survived. A lot of people don't understand. You said it, but they don't get it. You're here today because you refuse to go. That's why you're here. The power of the mind, the power of the emotions is everything. You got the worst diagnosis and you're still here because you said, I know I'm supposed to be here and I'm going to be here and I'm going to fight this and I'm not going to let the words poison my heart, because words are worse than being hit by a truck. And sometimes it could destroy you and make you think that stage 4 is the end. And you could tell yourself every day, that is not true. I am going to beat this. And that's why you're here. With all the things that are out there, there's chemotherapy, there's radiation, immunotherapy, hormone therapy. I can go on with the types of treatments that there are for breast cancer. But the ones that are going to survive are the ones that believe it in their heart. Because if you believe it in your heart, your immune system says yes. Everything, your brain says yes, your heart says yes. Every cell in your body will work in harmony to keep you here on this earth. And when you say no, because I've been doing this work for 30 years, my cancer survivors, the one that says no, the ones that are the ones that go. The ones that says yes are the fighters, and they survive. So I commend you for everything you said. I completely believed it. I lived it. I saw it for the last 30 years of my life. I've seen it. But unfortunately, there's not a lot of people like you. So congratulations. You're an angel on this earth. And there is a reason why you're supposed to say what you said tonight. And you're supposed to shout that to the world, because those words are going to heal people. I can tell people, okay, I can say to people all day long, avoid toxins so that it doesn't grow cancer cells. I can say, don't put aluminum. And I have a funny story about aluminum. Don't spray deodorant because it's very bad for you. It causes breast cancer. Don't use sunscreen because it has poisons in it. Be careful with your makeup because it has more poisons. Don't use plastic because plastic causes cancer of the breast. And for God's sake, don't use non-stick cookware, okay? These are all the things we tell people. And I think, they're all true, because we have to practice preventative medicine. Not only are we going to do those things to prevent breast cancer, but we're also going to do those things to prevent any cancer. We have to. We have to eat clean, because at the end of the day, our cellular level wants oxygenation, it wants nutrients. In order to bring those nutrients, you got to have a good vascular system, right? So we got to do all of those things, because when we get knocked down with chemotherapy and knocked down with radiation, you have to survive, because your immune system says, I can withstand the poison that they're going to give me. I can withstand the radiation that's going to burn me. I can withstand the ups and downs of the hormone therapy that's going to make me feel like I want to die. The next day it's going to make me laugh. All of these things happen to you when you have cancer. And you got to have a strong brain, a strong emotional mind, and you have to believe that you are supposed to survive this. And that's how you do it. I tell people all day long how to prevent chronic illness because as a holistic doctor, we're all about prevention. As an allopathic doctor, we're all about giving medications. And we have how many specialists out there? 20 specialists, one for every single thing. One for your eyes, one for your nose, one for your throat, one for your heart, one for your gut, one for your bones. You know, all of these specialists, I don't care how many specialists out there, there's a cancer that can grow in each one of those organs for that particular specialist. But none of them, not one of those doctors can help you survive cancer if you don't have the emotional strength to do it. If you don't believe in God that you're supposed to be here, you will not survive it because it is something that takes your cells, turn it around, burn it up, put poison in it, put chemicals in it, and then at the end of the day, you have to wake up the next day and say, am I supposed to survive this? And when you believe it, truly believe it, and pray to God, that is a huge beginning to your success. I remember the first time I found out about cancer, I was in college. This was many, many years ago. And I've worked in oncology, I've worked in pediatrics, I work in psychiatry. I went through all of those trying to find my way to what I was going to do as a nurse, right? So, you know, we dibble and we dab and we work in different units. Finally, I said, you know what? This is not for me. It's not for me because I can't live and be in an environment where I see this happening. I have to be holistic. I have to be in a naturopathic field so that I can see another way. And another way is prevention. It is prevention, guys. One of the things that happened when I was in college, I remember, I'll never forget the story. I don't know if you remember Secret. It was just so popular. It was smell good. It was a deodorant that you spray underneath your arm. And I remember we were all dancing in the dorm room, and we were spraying Secret around the room because it smelled so good. We sprayed underneath our arms, and it was just one of the best things that the college had. Secret deodorant everywhere. I learned maybe 15 years after that, this is a sad story, right? 15 years after that, that was one of the major contributors, aluminum, to breast cancer, right? So of course, the person I was in college with had breast cancer. Now we're talking about 30 years ago. We did not have back then 30 years ago what we have today to help survivors of breast cancer. The survival rate was really bad back then. But I'll never forget that that's when I decided that I was going to, because she was a really good friend of mine and we lost her. I had it in my mind that I was going to research everything that caused cancer. Guys, it was more than a book. It was more than a book. There's not one thing. Okay, there's so many things that cause it. And the only thing I could tell people is that you have to keep your life very clean to prevent it. And you cannot ignore the signs. And you said that. We lost her because it was a big nodule on her breast. Back then, we didn't touch our breasts. 25 years ago, we didn't look in the shower and say, well, there's a lump there. We go, oh, well, that's like a big pimple. And we would ignore it, right? Now we're told to check our breasts when we're in the shower. There's no time. You can't do it in 3 months. If you see something today, you go to the doctor's tomorrow. You don't say, well, I'm going to check it in 3 months or I'm going to check it in 6 months. That timeliness doesn't work. You're constantly looking at your breast and you're feeling your breast. And if it changes, if the nodule changes, you go to the doctor's right away. So we come a long way with breast cancer. Surely we have. We understand senescent therapy. We understand senolytic detoxes. I mean, we could talk about diet detox all day. That doesn't touch cancer, right? We have to talk about cellular detoxification. Cellular detoxification is huge. The reason for that is that we all have cancer cells. I know people don't like for me to say that. I don't like to say that. But I know that the ones that are going to survive the cancer cells is the ones that have the stronger immune system, the ones that's always constantly trying to be clean up their cellular level. The ones that get the cancer are the ones who ignore the signs, the one who doesn't do preventative. They never think about eating clean. They're always eating processed food. They're always eating out of plastic bags. They're cooking out of all the things that they shouldn't be cooking out of. And they got high metals in their body and all of these things. The other day, someone asked me about some herbs. Say, can you give me some herbs because I'm starting to eat a lot of fresh vegetables now. And I was thinking about the herbs that I was giving them, the same herbs that I would tell somebody to prevent breast cancer, that we have to come friendly with our herbs. It grows in the garden, guys. It's nothing that's going to hurt us. It's nothing to go out and grow rosemary. It's nothing to grow thyme. And what about parsley and cilantro and all of these things now? We don't have to be gardeners. We just have to go get some seeds in the pot. We could put it in our window. Why are we making this such a big deal, right? But we do. We got to eat lots of garlic, lots of onions, lots of cruciferous vegetables. And all of these things should be so natural that we should all become our own best nutritionists. It's not hard, but we got to not only become our own best nutritionists, we got to pay it forward, right? Because our friends and our next door neighbors, they're all eating processed foods too. And then it gets kind of lonely, right? That you're going to go and start eating out at a restaurant and people are looking at you because you're ordering fresh foods and you're asking the cook there, you got any herbs back there? But if enough of us do that, they'll start changing the way they cook food for people. And the reason why I know that is because I've done it on this island. I've done it. And I've seen people change, because I would tell people, just don't eat that. Just ask them if they got cilantro. Just start with cilantro. And they do have it back there. They have raw onions and garlic and cilantro and parsley and all of those things. They shouldn't just have to put the little sprig on the plate for decorations, right? They should give you like a handful of it. So these are some of the things that we have to start thinking about every day to prevent breast cancer. Every single day, you have to say to yourself, I love my body. I want to do the best for my body, because it's about cellular cleansing. It's about detoxing those toxic dummy cells that they call senescent cells out of the body, so that some of those cancer cells can just flow away from my vascular system, so that I can start to prevent the real chronic illness that's growing in our bodies every single day. By the hour, by the minute, we're growing bad cells.
On that note, thank you, Dr. Roni. It's always a pleasure to hear from a medical perspective what we can do to help with certain things that we're worried about. And now I'd just like to, Gabriela, I'd like you to chime in, and basically from a mother and a health and wealth advocate, I'd love to hear your viewpoints. And I know you just shared some news earlier, and I just received some myself. It just seems every day there seems to be some news out there, and we just need to start thinking differently. So Gabriela, if you're having some wisdom to share, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Roni, Carolyn, and Gillian. A lot of great information, and I love Carolyn's enthusiasm for life. And it's shocking to receive news of cancer. Nobody wants to hear that word. I have very close friends that are going through that right now, and one that's actually going into hospice as we speak. And it's very devastating to hear that they're going into hospice, because it didn't have to be that way. And we need to, my son Brandon, he's always saying, Mom, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I've shared that before, and he always reminds me. He goes, Mom, because he knows Monica, and her kids grew up with our kids, and they're like family. And but he takes care of me. He takes care of his dad. He takes care of all of us. He's the health person in our family. I mean, besides us. But yes, it's true. Mammograms are important. Okay. They don't hurt that much. I've had a few done. If you're over the age of 40, they're very, very useful, especially if you've had history of breast cancer, or if you find any signs after doing a monthly breast exam. then there's also what I've heard is 3D technology, and that's mainly used for people with dense breasts. I'm not exactly sure how to explain a dense breast. Maybe Dr. Roni can explain that right now. What can you define what a dense breast is?
There's a measurement that they'll give you how dense your breast is. When you go, they'll say you have dense breasts at this measurement. I don't know what that is, but the most important thing is that to know that in the beginning, like, do you have, and you could tell because it's very thick breast. It's not full of tissue. You know, you could feel the density in your breast. It's almost like a heaviness in your breast. And so, but it's measured when you go into the doctors, when they first do your breast exam, they'll tell you you have dense breasts.
Okay, good to know. And also even women with breast implants. And I do believe in breast implant illness. It is just basically what it is, comes down to is the minute you put a foreign body in your body, like silicone in breast implants or gel breast implants, you're actually going to pay for it eventually. You don't want to do that. And I wish I would have known what I know now. You can have complications due to the leakage of your implants, and every breast implant or butt implant will leak eventually. Okay, so don't do it. If you're thinking of doing it, don't do it. Save yourself your life. Okay. Do your, like I said, do your breast self-exams every month, including under your armpit, around the tissue. I mean, I'm sure Dr. Roni could probably explain how to do a breast self-exam. I don't know if you have time right now, but maybe you can recommend how we should properly do one, or I don't know, upload a video or something on our chat. But it's very important to do one.
And it's very important that when you feel a change, don't ignore it. That's how I lost my friend, right? You know, basically back then she thought it was just nonsense to test her breasts. And she thought it was just a lump or cyst, you know, but unfortunately that took her a year later before it got really big, to the point where it started to leak. And that's when it was pretty much, it grew into her other organs. So you're saying what we should always say is always test. And we should do a video and show people how. It's very tough to tell people how to do that. But the most important thing is always look and see if there's any changes at all underneath your arms, around your breasts, around your nipples. Sometimes people have a change in the nipple size, or they may have an inverted nipple and it was never like that before. That's another sign. Any changes at all in your breast is a sign for concern.
If somebody has to, on that note, if somebody has any great tutorial videos or anything that they would like to share, you know, we do have inside the Feel Good community, you can post some really great advice or share some tips inside there. We have no problem with you guys contributing for that. So thanks, Dr. Roni. In the interest of time, I do have I'd like to open up the forum now for any questions of anybody that would like to put their hand up. I know we have a couple here in the chat box. I'm just going to, first of all, it's just nice to see somebody stated that their mom is a breast cancer survivor for almost 40 years. And she didn't allow the doctor to remove her breasts. She was always positive, and she knew her cancer would not come back. So nice to hear some positive stories.
I love that.
Yeah, so I like to hear these, like to Carolyn's point, like it's all about sharing the good. And if you stay positive, and we all have to do that today because we are inundated. So how can we keep ourselves focused on the good is to keep sharing those positive, those striving moments that we can have. And I'd love to hear more of these inside the testimonials and inside the comments on this live stream that we're doing right now. But one of the questions that we did have asked in the chat box is, Carolyn, can you speak to some of the healthy eating habits and maybe you know, suggest some of the contents of some of the supplements? We're not here to push names or brands, but you know, maybe some things that you would recommend that people could do right now today to help them, you know, stay healthy.
Of course, I can definitely share that. The one thing I did have to learn was that if I wanted to make changes, I had to look at everything I was eating. I had to start reading the labels. Yes, you got to start doing that because we ignore that. Okay. And just because it has a little seal that says that it's organic, that doesn't mean it's organic. Okay. We're learning that too. So I had to learn to start, looking a little more deeper into how many times I was eating a day, how often I was eating, the habits of eating the same thing over and over and over. And, your body actually becomes immune to a lot of things. I can definitely tell you, coming from a Spanish background, that I took a lot of soursop tea. I'm still taking it. I haven't stopped using it because it's amazing. And the pow pow tea, pow pow tea, it's a family bush related to the soursop, and it grows in a lot of tropical places. You can find that, in a lot of tropical islands. I am from Puerto Rico, and that's everywhere in the soursop. And I started, I started taking a lot of that. I also started being very careful with the type of meat that I was eating, the type of protein. Not all proteins were actually good and healthy for you. And Dr. Roni, she knows this, that you have to be very careful. I stayed away from red meat. I did stay away from all kinds of processed juice. I started making my own juice. Yes, it takes a little time, but I actually started buying my own fruits, at the time when I started developing severe, getting very sick. My mother actually was the one making all these juices for me. And in 1997, we did not have that juicing machine that we have now. My mom had to do it the old-fashioned way. Believe it or not, the pomegranate, what's amazing for me, or vitamin C. I started doing a lot of intake of a lot of natural fruits of vitamin C. Vitamin C is such an amazing and powerful vitamin for us, for our bodies. Not only does it help us with, with the development of collagen, but also helps with, with the cancer cells. Another thing that I also learned that a lot of people don't know, that I had very low vitamin D, very low vitamin D. And guess what? They started giving me a lot of certain vitamins to help my body absorb vitamin D. And what I did not understand was that this is a mineral deficiency, that we had to start eating certain things to help our bodies, with minerals. And you know what? That actually did a 90 degrees turnaround in my body when I started looking into the certain minerals that I was lacking of, and a lot of foods that are processed lack that. They lack a lot of minerals. They kill their vitamins. All these juices that you see that you buy at a lot of grocery stores that they say they're organic, they're processed. Make your own juice. You know what? Your priority. Start giving yourself the best. If you, and please don't take this the wrong way, but if you want to go buy the best Coach purse and the best Louis Vuitton purse, make time for you, for yourself. Learn how to make those juices. Learn how to start studying what type of meat is good for me. And the fact that I also started studying the type of blood that I was, and I started finding that certain foods were not agreeing with me, were not good for me. We have our encyclopedia in our cell phones. Now we do. I didn't have that then. I had to do a lot of research reading, but now you can pretty much search everything. I started cutting all dairy products from my eating, from my diet. I started eating a good, healthy breakfast, a snack, a lunch, a snack, a dinner. And this is what worked for me. I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody. I went to the doctor and I was like, I need to know my blood type. And they're like, why you need that? I said, I need that. I mean, it's my right. Why not? You know, you need to know what blood type you are, because it actually helps you with the type of food that you can actually intake and how your body's going to react to it. A lot of us started developing sensitivity to some proteins because we don't know that. And instead of you feeding your body, you're feeding those cancer cells. You don't want to feed them. You want to encapsulate them and annihilate them. You know, that's what we want to do. We want to starve them. You know, the same thing with, you know, besides the sour sop, the pawpaw, is PAW. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. You know, the leaf, it's really good. You know, the tea. And I truly believe this, for every sour sop tea that I took, it really did help me. Not only that, but then I started learning that I could educate my immune system, that there's stuff out there that could actually educate it, that it could teach my immune system, you know, all those other stuff that I forgot to do, activate those cells, you know, that was no longer working. They were just there, lingering, not doing nothing what they were supposed to do. Not only that, you know, I started coming across amazing supplements that till this day, my God, has given me a second chance to live healthy, to not depend on chemicals. You know, I am a farm girl. I have to tell you that. I grow my own vegetables. Just like Dr. Roni said, I had to learn to take care of myself. And don't tell me that because you live in an apartment, you cannot, in front of a little window, put a little pot with soil, organic, you know, soil, and put those seeds for oregano. You know, all these amazing, you know, herbs that we can actually develop, even in little containers with water. There's no excuse, right, Dr. Roni? We have to make it a priority to be an example. You know what I mean? You have to start. If you don't start, you know, you have to learn to train your body to do what it's supposed to do. So we can live 104, 110. The best example I can tell you is that my mother was always telling me, Carolina, you have to eat this. And she will make her own collagen from boiling all these bones, okay, and giving this to me. And I'm like, Mom, that's nasty. And I'm like, why would I want to eat that? And she's like, you're gonna eat it. You're gonna eat this, and this is what we're gonna do. And now I hear all these scientists, and I hear all these other guru healthy people saying you have to eat this and eat that. I'm like, my God, all this time my mother was giving me the right thing that actually helped my immune system, that actually helped my body, that helped my hormone crazy and balanced situation that I had, that I was developing things that I wasn't supposed to develop so soon. So listen to Dr. Roni. If I were you, I will just eat for breakfast, Dr. Roni, me, you know, for snack, everything that she has to tell you about food, because just because also something is natural, that doesn't mean it's for you. Your body, everybody has an immune system, but everybody's metabolism, it's a whole Pandora box, right, Dr. Roni?
That's
so
right.
we have to teach our bodies, you know, to do that. Dairy free, you know, I truly believe that. The same thing with certain meats, you know, you don't want to be eating meats that were processed, bleach, and I don't know how to say it right. They use certain gelatins to actually preserve the meat, to keep them out there longer. You know, you have to be very careful. And yes, there's healthy food out there. Please don't think you're gonna have to just live out of air. You know, there's healthy food out there. I make my own yogurt. You know, I had to learn to do all that stuff to retrain my body. And yes, you can. It takes 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks for the human body to actually adapt to a new habit. So yes, you can do it.
Right.
Why not? It's to live longer.
Thank
I
you.
know. I want to live longer.
Thank you, Carolyn. I know I'm getting a lot of direct messages, and I think I just want to, I'm going to answer them. And we're just so you know, we're Feel Good, Share Good is about sharing, you know, things that may help other people feel better. Okay. And I've had about 3 separate questions, and do you see your logo on your screen? They are seeing the logo on the screen, and we try not to talk names or our companies, but the questions I'm getting asked is, what are you doing? Are you using anything specifically in terms of supplements from Pro-Life? Is that something that you're doing to help you?
Yes, ma'am, I am. And yes to everybody. I've been taking this amazing smart molecule since 2007, and it has changed my life. You know, it has educated my immune system. It has rejuvenated my organs, you know, retrain my whole body. And the fact that it prepares my body for any radicals, that anything that is actually out there. Until this day, I'm still being tested. Until this day, I'm still negative for all those proteins that supposedly were supposed to be in my body as a trace of being a cancer survivor. Okay. And I do apologize. Gillian, this is my normal background that I use, you know. But I can definitely tell you that this is what I do every day. You know, I go to different clinics, different doctors. I train, I educate, because I cannot keep it to myself. The fact that this helped me tremendously. My life did a whole 90 degrees turnaround when I started actually taking the supplements, you know. And my daughter takes them. She's 12 years old. My whole family takes them. And I love the fact that they are actually approved by the medical society, and they are in the PDR. And I think Dr. Roni knows that this is public, you know, you can Google it. It's actually in there, and it's amazing what it have done and what it's still doing. And I think until God calls me, I'm going to be telling everybody what changed my life.
Well, thank you, Carolyn, and thank you for being gracious about that and being gracious this evening. And sometimes we're just so afraid of saying or sharing things because we're afraid that we're going to come off as salesy or squirmy. And I don't want anybody to feel like that today, because, you know, if we have a gift to give, and that's even advice on what, you know, a juice to drink, or you know, a process to do, or a frequency to listen to, we need to be sharing things that are working for you. And obviously that's helped you in whatever aspects, and even just your power of positive thinking and prayer has been something that's helped you. So you talk about that. Let's start talking about certain things that help you. And I just want to say, first of all, thank you. Not first of all, I keep saying that. You're going to stop me from saying that all the time. But basically, today was very powerful for me, and it meant a lot for you to share your story. And if anybody, before we go, has any questions tonight about anything, Carolyn, there are some people asking specifically what products you're using. Maybe you can share that inside of our comment box on any for Facebook Live. You can they can reach out to you personally, or if anybody has any specific questions, we can sort of try to answer that without and making sure that they have clarity of where to get the answers from that are helping for you, Carolyn. I'd like to continue this conversation. I'd like to somehow have the dialogue continue, because it is Breast Cancer Month, and there are opportunities of sharing and learning from your story, Carolyn, but for many other women's stories. And we want to make sure that we have a voice and we have somewhere to go. And in some cases, we have to be careful what we can share on social media today, right? So we have to be cautious in how we present it, but there may be an opportunity somewhere else in a more private setting that we can have these more private conversations. And if you're interested in that, please message myself, or, you know, and we'll figure out a way that we can answer those questions for you. Okay. Because we also are getting a lot of questions, even, maybe I can answer this one. Maybe Dr. Roni, you can help him with this one, because you're the doctor here. What do you recommend for vaccine injuries? Now, this is
So,
again,
yeah,
one of those questions.
yeah, so she's talking about long COVID, or she's talking about spike protein. There's a whole protocol out there for that. One is NAC, the other one is either nattokinase or serapatase. And then there's also people out there talking about nicotine. I think this person should specifically get a hold of me, and I have a whole protocol, but there's 5 different protocols for 5 different types of vaccine injuries. And you want to make sure you got the right one. But we're going in the right direction. You want to detox the spike protein down. So I have a couple of questions to ask. I want to ask them, did they do a D-dimer test? Had they do a troponin test? But we definitely, that is a very good question. We definitely have protocols to decrease the spike protein, or vaccination injuries is the lay term for it. So thank you for that question. Maybe they can get a hold of you and I can send her the protocol.
So what we'll do is, like I said, there's a lot of Gillian Murrays, but I am the real Gillian Murray this evening. Okay, so you can find me on Facebook, and I'll try to filter who needs to get the answer. There's been a lot of people that are questioning what you're doing with pro-life right now. I'm trying to filter the direct messages I'm getting. They want to know exactly what you're actually taking, Carolyn. I just want to make sure that the people who are asking these questions get the answers that they clearly want to hear. Same thing with you, Dr. Roni. And I think going forward, we may have to look at a venue that's going to be more private or contained, so we can have a little bit more of a real talk. As these calls develop, we're getting more raw, and I want that. We need that today.
Yeah, the other thing, they are getting raw, but one thing I want to be able to do is, I don't see the questions coming in. You will tell me what the questions are, and I'll be able to help people more. But we definitely want to tell. Carolyn's story was so powerful. I don't blame them. Everybody wants to know, what is she taking? What is she eating? What is she breathing? Is she breathing real air? We want to know that, right? So, one of the things, I have a powerful immune kit, we call it the immune kit, right? I use that immune kit for a lot of things. It is a very powerful kit. And one of the products that she's talking about is in that kit. So go on my website and get that immune kit. It's powerful. It's powerful for a lot of different conditions out there.
So, and remember, if you've been funnel through myself, because I do help support Dr. Roni, I want to make sure that the information is given to the right answers are given to you. So again, I could be reached at Facebook, Gillian Murray, and we'll make sure that the questions are answered in the most appropriate way. Okay, is that all right, everybody? So again, Carolyn, and if is there a way that they can connect with you, Carolyn, too, if they need to? Okay.
Actually, I'm in Facebook as Caroline Rodriguez. They're welcome to actually look for me, send me private messages. And if they want to contact me at a more personal level, like a cell phone, I'll be more than happy. Gabriela has my number. She can share my number with them, and I can definitely tell them what I was taking, how I started taking it, because you have to train your body. This is your temple. This is what you got to live with for the rest of your life.
All right, perfect. We're over time now, but I just want to say thank you, Carolyn. And next week, we're going to have a beautiful lady named Lucy is going to be coming in and sharing her lupus story and how she's overcoming it with her own wellness journey. And I really am looking forward to that. I don't know a lot about lupus, but I know, Dr. Roni, you've treated a lot of people with lupus. So it's going to be an interesting discussion next week. Okay. Thanks again, Carolyn. And don't forget to get them checked. Okay. All right. Thanks,
Show your shirt one more time.
Oh, my shirt? Okay. And it says,
I love it.
1 second. Feel it, find it, fight it. Okay?
Beautiful.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, girls.
Have a great night, everybody.
Good night, Carol.